Hi, I'm Joel Shinnis, and I want to talk about 5 easy ways any dev can contribute to open source software. You know, I always hear it's good for your career and your profile to contribute to open source, and, well, I mean, the nice part about that is it's a great way to get experience if you don't already have the job, right? That kind of solves the how do you get an experience without a job and how do you get a job without the experience, right? It's by doing this sort of volunteer thing. But it can be really daunting, of course. So, I'm going to give you 5 ways that you can contribute, that any dev can contribute to any open source project. Number 1, documentation. Yeah, I had to start with the most boring thing first. Every library, every tool needs documentation. People need to know how to use it, no matter what it is. What are you doing? Sorry. But somebody needs to write it. Somebody needs to improve it. Somebody needs to update it to match version 2.0, right? So there are always lots of opportunities to write documentation. Now, you might be saying to yourself, Joel, English isn't my first language, so I really can't write documentation. You have an edge. You see, what you can do is actually just take any existing documentation and translate it into your language. There's a lot of libraries that have they'll have a readme.md on GitHub, but they'll also have a readme.fr.md for French or readme.es.md for Spanish. And even if you speak a language that not a lot of people speak, still you get to contribute documentation in your language that'll help your particular language community of devs. So not only are you contributing, not only are you registering that you contributed, not only are you doing something fairly easy that helps, you're also empowering people from your own culture to do stuff, which I think is pretty cool. Second, examples. Now there's lots of libraries that will include an examples section on GitHub. And if you tell me, hey Joel, we're going to use this library, or what do you think this library does? A lot of times I go straight to the examples. This is a really easy way to do this. All you have to do is kind of take the library, use it, and then demonstrate what you did with it. A good example I saw was a drag and drop library that had an example of playing chess, where you kind of pick up the pieces and move them. Seems pretty simple. Now this one will still have to go through the process and get approved, but it's a really powerful way of kind of just showing how to use that, and that helps everybody. Third, tests. Unit tests specifically. This is one of the ways you can contribute to any project, is to write tests for it. Now, you will have to know how to use tests, and they already have tests, you have to figure out how they use tests, right? Their test setup might be different from the one you're used to. But this is such a great chance to learn how to do testing. And all testing really does is a codified way of using the software that's there. So as long as you know how to use it, and you're comfortable writing tests, you can write tests and submit those. Number 4, wrappers. Now this is kind of anything where it's like, I'll have some context and I'll have some library, and there needs to be some sort of bridge between them, You may see a cool method of doing stuff with JavaScript, or see a cool new browser API, but you need to write something so you can actually use it with React or Angular or Vue. You may even have a cool C++ library, but you have to write some sort of wrapper and some sort of set of kind of an API so that you could use it with C# or Java or Python or WASM. That's going to be a whole big avenue for doing this kind of contribution. One thing that's super cool about it is you don't need anyone's permission. I mean, you don't really want to write a new one when someone else has already written one, but basically You don't need a permission from React to build something. You don't need a permission from the original library writer to do anything. You just kind of are making your own thing and putting it out there, and it's just out there, right? So, really great opportunities to get some software out there. The last thing, number 5, is, well, maybe you can contribute directly to it, right? So what you might want to do is look through the issues and just see what kind of fits there for you. Maybe there is an issue you can help with. Maybe they just need someone to do like, hey, this looks backwards in Firefox under a certain version on Windows. And you kind of just investigate some sort of polyfill. There might be issues that are well within your purview. And if there are, someone just needs to do them. So you might want to go through some of the libraries you see and just sort of look for issues. Some of them will actually be flagged good for first-timers. There was a project a while back called Your First PR. And so I know that flag is something that pops up, like First PR or Your First PR. Anyway, those are 5 easy ways that any dev can contribute to open source. If you do that, you'll demonstrate a love for open source. I know that there have been times in my career where not having open source has been a detriment, and sometimes where having it is what brought recruiters to me and helped me get a job. And also, it's just a great way to learn to do your craft and learn from other people who can give you code reviews and give you better advice. All right, thank you so much for your time. I got a holly tree here. It's going down. See you in a bit.